From the nosebleeds to the studio, I'm your host, LJ. And today we have a familiar face here, special guest, Orlando Magic HQ writer, my man Luke. How we doing, bro?
You're doing great, brother. How we doing?
Great, great. Pleasure to have you back again.
It's always a
As
pleasure to
you,
be here, man.
oh yeah, it's been quite a few months since our last
Been a
episode. I'm
little
glad.
bit, yeah,
Oh yeah, I'm glad you can join us again for this one, though. It's definitely going
for
to
sure.
be we had a lot of talk about since August, definitely.
Oh, we've had a lot of good, I'd say
Oh
as
yeah.
well.
Let's say it's been a
Really good.
quite a turnaround since our last conversation. I
Quite a turnaround.
think we made some predictions that seem to be looking good so far. I would say so myself.
Yeah, no, I don't think I made very optimistic predictions beyond hey maybe a play-in or whatever. But spoiler alert, we might not make the play-in. We might make the playoffs proper.
Exactly.
And that's a thing that I've been wanting to say for the last 10, 11 years of my life now. And man, it is so good. It feels so good to be a Magic fan right now.
For sure. Shout out to the Magic. Definitely. They have
Big
done
shout outs
they
to the
have
Orlando
done their
Magic.
job. Oh yes. More than deserving of that round of applause for sure. Man, I don't know if you've gotten a chance to come to any games yet. I know you're out there in Boston, but oh man, the atmosphere. I've only been to one game this
I
year,
have
but
actually.
things have definitely changed. What game was that?
I went down to so for a little bit of context to those of you who don't know, I in addition to doing Orlando Magic HQ, am a co-op at Boston.com. I go to school at Boston University and I'm studying journalism. And I have been writing a lot with them for quite a while now. And so my editor allowed me to go down to Orlando and cover the in-season tournament game against the Magic and the Celtics. It was the first
Hell
time
of a
that I've been
game.
in anyway in quite a long time, and I don't think I've ever seen a more excited, raucous crowd coming out of that building. Um, I've never seen anything like it. Um, Truly a very special game for a lot of us here, including myself.
No, definitely. I could see how that game was probably a little bit conflicting for you, being that you're over there now. But
It's
no,
magic till I die.
you know exactly. You know where your heart is, so it's all right. So
Hmm.
while the Magic fan in me would want to give you like the sad noise for the Boston fandom, I won't. I'll give you more cheers. All
It's
right.
it's a Boston responsibility, I'd say.
Yes, though
But like I don't know,
I respect it. It's perfect.
go
But no,
Celtics
man.
unless they're playing the Magic.
There we go. I at least I can
Indeed,
respect that, no doubt.
100%. All right.
But no, speaking of that, man, the in season tournament kind of ended up being a letdown for Magic fans. Kind of how everything played out.
Yeah.
Uh, we've over the last our record is 14-6. So to start the season, I think we've done a remarkable job. I think even with the tournament included, no one expected us definitely to be this good. My biggest
Mm-mm.
thing with the tournament, I I was confused for the longest on kind of just how the point differential and everything was broken down. Even still now, I'm still kind
A
of
lot of math.
I'm still kind of hesitant. Um, but what do you think about it? What do you think ultimately was the reason why you think we didn't get in? Like, did there was a lot of y- you know you mentioned it being from Boston, Jason Tatum's comments kind of criticizing the
Yeah.
tournament on one
Hmm.
hand, but then yet praising it when it works for him. Seems to be kind of the theme amongst most teams. Now that we're on the other side of that, how do you think overall the in-season tournament kind of worked out for is working out at least? so far.
I love it. Honestly, the NBA has been starved of like getting people to pay attention to the games early on in this season, and this has been the best way that we've been able to do that for quite a while now. And it I mean, it got us paying attention to basketball, NBA basketball in November.
Hmm.
And that in and of itself is an accomplishment. The games feel intense, the atmosphere is intense. The courts, Tatum is right. The courts are very, very slippery, and it's not just and it's not just one at Amway Center. It's all of them.
Hmm.
But but it obviously needs a little bit of tweaking. But this is such a great thing. To get fans engaged, to get teams that aren't like at the top of the top a little bit of recognition. Like you got the Knicks is a top 8 team. The Pelicans is a top 8 team. Not bad teams by any stretch, but teams that deserve to be there, um, but ultimately didn't get that call. Or also don't get the recognition that they deserve as well. That you're seeing from teams like the Clippers and the Warriors that get a lot of the recognition to varying results. And it's and again, I mean, I can only say it so many times, but very, very, very good thing that um, that we've been doing like over the past month. And like, of course, it needs tweaking. I think there should be a bigger incentive beyond just winning the NBA Cup. Um, it's fantastic the two-way players that will be able to like feed their families um, for the next like um, few years at this point, honestly. But at the same time, it's like, um,
It's 500,000 per player, right? They're winning like that,
yeah,
or 100,000 per player, or something like
mhm,
that.
and and again, it's a huge amount of money to those players who are like making the vet minimum. But at the same time, it's like, what does the winner beyond that get? And again, you also like the point differential is a very great idea in theory. Um, and it's a good way to measure like success, but but like at a certain point you get I mean, I'm gonna say it, the Celtics somehow stumbling their way into this top 8 because the Chicago Bulls are a sorry excuse for a basketball team. The irony of a Magic fan being mad that the Bulls are sorry, but like it's and I'm not going to say that can't happen because like that's honestly part of the chaos and part of the fun because this isn't supposed to be the NBA championship. It's supposed to be like a fun little thing that gives good teams recognition they might not otherwise deserve. But at the same time, it's like there are. I mean, it's in its infancy stages. There's still like little growing pains it's going to have. It's the first year. They're going to figure it out, and when they figure it out, this is like I think it could be like on par with like All-Star Weekend in terms of like
Mhm.
very like cool thing the NBA does.
Yeah. On that note, it's like, so overall, like you mentioned, I think it's been great. As an NBA fan, just in general, just to see games that are more important to the players naturally trickles down to the fans, gonna make us more engaged, gonna make the product overall just a better thing for everybody. I do think where it's having, it's kind of highlighting an issue is, you mentioned the Boston game against Chicago again, and I mentioned Tatum also criticizing, like, it was against us in it was after us in the in season tournament game where he criticized stat padding, and it's leading to
I
that
was yeah,
possibility, and then it's like,
I was there.
didn't they do the same thing in that game essentially? Because weren't this because
They did.
their
Yeah.
starters were in late in the fourth quarter in the game, so it's like, okay, in a sense we are getting more, these games are getting more eyes to them, but then the end result ends up being kind of more of what we don't like, which I feel like
Hmm.
will be a lot of these kind of blowout situations where it's like clearly one team needs to have that point differential as much as they can, to get the wild card or to guarantee that seed. So we're going to see a lot more blowouts, a lot more teams rolling over, probably when they feel like it's not, it's not really in their best interest to win. Like for example, a team that's 1-2 going into that last game, they're not going to try. Let's be honest. What's the
Mm-mm.
incentive?
What's
You know?
Chicago gonna
Yeah,
sorry excuse for a franchise, Chicago Bulls, at least
these
at
days,
this current moment.
these
But
days at least.
and like I don't know, the irony of rooting for Toronto and Chicago to win as a Magic
Yep.
fan is exactly what makes the in season tournament so much fun.
No, that
Um,
that part was fun and disheartening at the same time.
oh,
Because
very much
then,
so when you realize, oh yeah, they're exactly who they thought we were,
yep, it's like
or who we thought
Scotty
they were.
Barnes.
Not again, Scotty Barnes. Not again, Pascal Siakam. Can't finish at the rim anyway. The in-season tournament is a great thing that I cannot wait to see how the end, because like it's obvious that they're really invested into
Yeah.
this. So it's almost certain they're going to find ways to improve it. Like this isn't like the Taco Bell skills challenge. This is like a real thing. They're putting like real like commercials, um, money, crystal diamonds, and stuff. Did you see the trophies that they unveiled today?
I did not know.
You got to look those up. They are clean. They
I
are
will
so
see,
nice.
see if I can
Um,
find them here.
but but if and they obviously care enough to the point to where they're gonna try and do everything in their power to improve and to fix that. And so
Mhm.
um and I'd love to see it because this is such a great idea that needs just a little bit of tweaking. Whether it's point differential, whether it's giving um another incentive beyond just, and I'm not saying to take away the money pool because that is life changing money and like should be given like a like an incentive in condition, like in addition to that, and like just other things that like I think could ultimately be very good for the game of basketball, not just the in-season tournament. Honestly, I'm glad it's not my call to make, but I'm glad that there are people who are going to make that call.
Mhm. So you mentioned incentive before we get off real quick. What do you think
Yeah,
of possibly then the winner getting like guaranteeing like a top two seed or something, or guaranteeing home court advantage in the playoffs? Or I know that might be kind of hard because there's no guarantee they make the
yeah,
playoffs, but considering
yeah,
they end up adding like they're adding on games as the
hmm,
wins have gone on throughout the tournament. I think it's
yeah,
possible. Maybe you do one in the early part of the season, and then one maybe after All Star break or around there, a little bit after that, a little bit more towards the end, and then you
yeah.
get
No, for
and
sure.
then maybe a winner of each gets one game against each other, and then they can it's I
Yeah,
feel like maybe getting some
it's
seeding
a good
involved
thing.
somehow could
Yeah, I
could
mean, like
probably
again,
boost the incentive.
for sure. Like again, like the reason why I said like it's hard um is because like or that I don't want to. I'm glad I'm not making that call is because like I can't tell you with absolute certainty. Like I think like a automatic playoff seed is a little bit too much, but I'm curious of the idea of at least like an automatic like play-in bid, um, where like you're not making the playoffs proper,
Yeah,
or maybe the in-season tournament you get 5 extra wins or something like that, added onto your schedule. Um, but something along those lines where like it matters more to the actual on-court product is going to get a lot more people invested fully into it. Um, and in addition to like a lot of these players like trying to get that life-changing money for sure. Um,
I agree.
but like again, I don't know what you do with it, but like there are things that I think you can do as long as like they're obviously like responsible.
Yeah, no, you got a point there. So interested to see how it goes about, but at least for year one, I think they've done a great job. That's for sure.
Indeed.
All right. So we mentioned our record briefly over these first 20 games. During
14.
during that, coming off of We are coming off a franchise tying 9 game winning streak. Unfortunately, ended Saturday against Brooklyn. That was a tough game to watch. Uh, let's be honest.
That's not lasted.
I think most of us kind of saw that coming.
Oh yeah.
Um, it was kind of like, I know I didn't feel so good going into the game. You know,
How
throughout this.
poetic for. Sorry,
No, 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 you're
you're
good.
saying. Oh, how poetic for our winning streak to be bookended by Brooklyn, um, on either side.
Yep,
The team that we last lost to before embarking on our
win
win
streak,
streak, and
and the team that essentially screwed us out of the play in bid, so or
literally,
the in
like
season
there's
tournament bid.
like there's a rivalry here now.
Something's brewing, and I don't know. I don't know if you've seen
Something's brewing
Dinwiddie.
at least on our end.
I don't know if you've
Well,
seen
no, what
Dinwiddie
Dinwiddie say?
talking. He was just
What
talking a
Dinwiddie
lot the
say?
last game. He was just
Oh,
after after
yeah, yeah.
after
I
every
thought something
bucket,
like, yeah, he was.
him and Mikael. I mean, actually, Mikael Bridges more,
Mikhail's for
but they were
Mikhail's
both
forgiven because of the Mo's comments at the presser, but
they were both yapping, and I don't
they
know.
were
I was
yapping.
like, all right,
Something's cooking here. Two very young teams hoping to finally like get noticed. There's something there. Like I'd say Indiana's in that too, but like we just saw what happened with Indiana. Um, but yeah, what do you? I'm sorry if I'm like stealing a question, but what do you think the most impressive win was during that streak?
I would have to say you got to say the Nuggets, defending champions, coming. They believe we were coming off a back to back, or we were going into a back to back. Believe we were coming off. I believe it was the second night of the back to back.
We were. Let me look at the schedule pulled up. We were
Believe that was the second night on
coming
the
out.
back to
We were
back.
coming out of a back to back. It was. We just played Toronto the night before.
Yep. So, back to back night going against defending champions. AG coming back to
For sure.
Orlando. We were going to have a little bit of maybe him trying to rub it in a little bit. Hey, I got my ring. Da da da. They feel like there was a lot
Hmm.
there was a lot, especially as a Magic fan for me, kind of riding on that game. Jamal Murray was out, so granted they weren't maybe 100%, but neither were we. Not having Mark Hill or Wendell, so I think that was the
Hmm.
most impressive. Again, mainly coming off the back to back. That's kind of been our, especially last year, that was kind of our Achilles heel when it came to kind of getting consistent victories. We could never get more than 2 or 3 in a row,
Hmm.
especially off a back to back. We knew when we had a back to back, we were losing one of those two guaranteed. Now it seems like coming into this season and going forward that all right, every game is winnable, especially after.
Oh yeah.
I think that's what this streak has kind of reinforced with me is like there's not a team in the NBA that the Magic can beat right now. And I think that's for the first time in a very long time we're able to say that, and that's it's beautiful. It's definitely beautiful.
Yeah. For me, it's the Denver game. I think is a close call, because the Nuggets were shorthanded a little bit. To my knowledge, I think Jamal Murray was out. Am I correct there?
What's up? Sorry about that.
Was Jamal Murray out that game?
Yes, Jamal Murray was out.
Yes. Okay. Not to say that beating the Nuggets without Jamal Murray was not impressive or anything, but like I think the two games that define this win streak for me, the absolute thrashing of a team that we considered our peers in the Indiana Pacers until, of course, Jet Howard's legacy game. Um, that said to me, okay, this team might actually be good, and this is not a fluke. And the IST game with all the bright lights and the all the nice tournament courts and every ounce of pressure against the best team in basketball, the most probably the most complete team in the entire sport that can kill you in every. I mean, I'm obviously biased, but like the team that can kill you in more ways than one. Um, that said to me, we are for real. We're not
Yeah.
just good, we are for real. This is a team that deserves to be second in the Eastern Conference, ahead of Milwaukee. Third, I think it is, or I don't remember.
Second at the moment still,
Ahead of
but
it's still second, ahead of Milwaukee. I think we're tied with Milwaukee, ahead of Philadelphia, ahead of New York, ahead of whatever Cleveland's doing right now,
most
ahead
importantly
of
ahead of
Miami.
Miami. Mhm.
That's all that matters. As long as we're ahead of Miami, we
It's
can
like
stake
most
that claim.
importantly Miami.
That that's it because everyone else in that division is either um, struggling or the Wizards. So,
or the
but those two games to me defined the win streak, um, and that to me was what earned Jamal Mosley his title as Eastern Conference Head Coach of the Month.
Well, you perfect segue right there.
Yeah, I'm so good at these
you,
things.
you, beautiful, wonderful. So
And it
yeah, you mentioned it. Jamal Mosley winning coach of the month for the first time. Well deserved. I think.
well deserved,
I don't think anybody else really should
very
have
well
been in
deserved.
contention for that. If we're being honest.
Nope, no way.
Uh,
He, yeah, no, he got those boys locked in. I have never seen a more locked in group of Magic players. And this has been a thing like for ever since he's been here. Like ask anybody in that room, even before then, they'll tell you, "Oh my god, Jamal Mosley, um this guy is getting everybody to buy in." And that's the thing, that's the differentiator between a talented player and a good player buying in. Um because I think you heard on the Zach Lowe podcast, Cole talked to Jamal and said, "Hey, um, you're right. I need to be on the bench for this team to win." Suggs, man. Um, my irrational take from being a fan that I will firmly believe, I will firmly die on the hill of. Jalen Suggs is objectively, and you can't convince me otherwise, a top five player in that, a top five defensive player in basketball right now. Um,
I think it goes
the
without
way that he
saying.
hustles,
He's not
it
debatable.
should, but there are some people um, who don't see that, and he's been
Especially
so good
especially a perimeter defenders because we're talking about in the paint. You want to make that
for sure.
you want to make that the
And of course, you have
differentiator
Paolo and
better.
Franz playing some of the best basketball that they've ever played. Um, at least one of them's going to have a really good game every
Every
night,
night.
and you can count on
Mhm.
that. And we have a structured team that just plays good defense, man. A ton of good
Great
defense. And that's
defense
been our
majority of the time.
like we have one of the best defenses in the league per defensive rating. And that's no accident. Like they're most of what they practice is defense. And it shows on the court. Um because how they built their roster, and it's plain to see that they built their roster off of a bunch of really long, talented, shifty defenders that just so happen to know how to put the ball in the hoop, and that's been their whole mo since Jeff and John took over, and now it's Jeff and A Park. Um, um, Now they have their coach that can implement that philosophy in ways that Steve Clifford never really knew how. Um, and because Jamal Mosley does what Steve Clifford was never able to do, convince his players to fully buy in. Um,
Hmm?
I think one of the things that speaks to me, I think it was the opening game. Ji had a mean mug over a guy that I think he just blocked. I forget who it was. It's either a Thompson twin, or is either a men or Dylan Brooks. I'm probably wrong on that too. He mean mugged him, got a tech for it, went to the sideline and told Mose, "Oh my god, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. It won't happen again. It won't happen again." And then Mose went, "Hey, chill. We're with it.
Mhm.
Do that." Like there is a culture. There is a clear culture change in Orlando,
Yeah.
and like this is not your your older brother Steve Clifford team, young Magic fan. This is Jamal
It
Mosley's group of dogs.
is, and you
And none of this is possible without Jamal Mosley and his defensive identity that he is very firmly set in um into the minds of these young basketball players trying to find their way here because they're all so young, but they're all so committed.
you mentioned how he's just a player's coach, you know,
Yeah, he's a
and
players coach.
it's great because getting the chance to interview him last season and being in the conference rooms and hearing
I
how he
got a
would
story.
talk hearing how he would talk about all the players every night, no matter win or lose. You could tell from his first season there that he was building something special. And I know there's been a lot of criticism as to, we need to look to get another coach. I think those talks have died down for now, which is great. Uh,
Thank
but
God. I
but
never
coming
liked
into
those.
this, yeah, coming into this season, we got a lot of that, and like seeing it
Hmm.
firsthand, it was kind of goes about along with what you said. It's like there's more than X's and O's when it comes down to it. Clifford was a great X's and O's coach. Did not connect
Never
with the players,
understood the
not
players.
especially the younger ones. Look at
There was always
Charlotte.
a generational gap. Oh my
Look at
God.
Charlotte.
That was an awful hire to begin with.
Yeah, I don't know I don't know what the hell they were thinking of bringing him back, but
Well, yeah, yeah, they brought
hey,
him back too.
by all means, take him. Um, again, I when he got hired 3 years ago, I didn't know how it would turn out, but I definitely was optimistic, and this has exceeded all my expectations. So, this coach of the month is just the
Very,
start of
very
something
happy. It
something
is.
great, and depending on how we finish out this year, possibly coach of the year candidate. So,
I agree because honestly, I think he is Magic basketball. Like when you think of like a lot of like important Magic basketball moments, drafting Franz, that was the year Mose got hired. Paolo Banchero getting taken number one, and that lottery pick, who was at that podium yelling and
mhm.
screaming, and clapping with this like goofy ass grin on his face, Jamal Mosley. This win streak, who was named head coach of the month for the Eastern Conference because of the way that he's turned that team around, Jamal Mosley. Um, I and again, ask anyone who knows him or personally or plays with him, an upstanding, authentic guy who the best thing I think that's ever happened to that locker room.
I would
I
have to agree.
at least in my lifetime, I the best thing that's ever happened to that Magic locker room in terms of a true, genuine, single-handed culture shifter.
A true
And I think
leader,
I'm willing to die on that
definitely.
hill.
No, I would have to agree with you on that. He's
Hmm.
definitely again, I think he silenced all the doubts for now at
Yeah.
least. Because this gets very fickle sometimes with the fan base, but
Oh,
I
certainly.
think I think the flames have been stoked for now, and we need to appreciate the guy that we have, at the helm of this team because there's very few like him in this league. If you look around the landscape of all these coaches, we got a special one here in Mose,
We really do have a
and
special coach.
Luca will tell you too. So
That
if you
was a
don't
big. I remember
if
that
you
was a
don't
big
if,
thing.
if you don't believe us, believe Luca. All
That was
right.
a big thing. Like we hired him. We were like, wait, who is this guy? Oh, he's a good defensive coach. He's a good players coach. Oh wait, Luca's bought in. Oh well,
Sold.
banner,
Yep.
banner. It's banner seasons, guys. But no, for real, like the way Jamal Mosley has just absolutely like changed this. I mean, I'll say it as many times as like I can because it's worth as many times as I can. So important to the way this team's been playing.
Mhm.
If he didn't get head coach of the Eastern Conference head coach of the month, there's a problem there. He's probably the biggest reason why this team is so important,
Would have
or
definitely been
why
a
this team is so
travesty.
good, rather.
So on that note, another person who's been really instrumental in this win streak and someone that I feel the need to talk about. One, because just so happens I'm drinking is on the cup right here.
Yeah.
But Mr. Cole Anthony, uh, definitely. Would you say at least definitely for now, six men of the year, number one?
Oh, totally, totally. It's either
You
him or
know,
like the name guys like IQ, Reeves, whatever.
no, yeah,
Um,
no, it's definitely Cole without a doubt, and that's just without my bias. You mentioned him buying into his bench role. Um, I remember asking him a similar question last season about how he's kind of adjusted to the role, and it's you saw the insight then as he was speaking about it, like you know, kind of just coming out playing my game and not worrying about that and let the chips fall where they may, and did a good job of doing that. And
he did a
it's think
great
it's
job.
worked out. I think it's worked out for everybody.
Hmm.
He's as for those Magic fans who don't know, even with the addition of Paulo and friends and France, I don't know why I said France like that's so weird.
Paolo and friends.
Uh, but with Paulo and Franz, Cole's my favorite player on the Magic. Just his energy
Yeah,
that he brings, and night in and night out. His game, just being a smaller guard, just something just relatable. And man, he's been to me obviously besides the main two. I think he's been the biggest key player wise in this one streak. I'd have to say.
you're not wrong. I have a different opinion on the number three main player. Um, but I'll get to that in a second. But Cole is just the easiest guy to root for. Outgoing, talkative, funny, in touch with not just the internet, but fans on the internet. Um, everything that this guy has like touched, like somehow turns to gold, whether it's like on the court or like off the court. Funniest
So
guy on the team, locker room, everything, and he's been so important off the bench. And he and Mo Wagner are like the two reasons why the bench is as good as it's been, like the best unit in the league.
top unit in the league for
Hmm.
sure. So you mentioned you had your thoughts on the
On who number three
excuse me
is, and
number three is.
I would
I think I
argue
know where you're going.
I would argue I don't know if you do. Jalen Suggs.
Oh yeah, and yeah, no,
Is that who?
I
All right.
yeah, no, yeah, I thought about it and I was like, yeah, I could see
It's
it.
dude, the
But lay
way
your
he's been
points out.
playing defense is unbelievable. To those of you who somehow don't know, according to one of the the most highly reputable stat like statistic measurement that is publicly available, estimated plus minus from dunksandthrees.com, Jalen Suggs is currently tied with Chet Holmgren for the highest defensive plus minus. And for a while he was at the top. And it's as clear as day. That guy just picks pockets. That guy just hustles and
Shout out.
dives for loose balls. That guy that guy runs and hustles and he inspires the entire team to do so as well. I really think that like if there is like a human amalgamation of what Jamal Mosley is trying to do to this team, it's Jalen Suggs, just a guy who just busts his butt off and just
Leaves it all on the
gets
floor every
stops no
night.
matter what.
Hmm.
And let's talk about a conversation that a lot of people might not be happy about. To think about the offensive improvement that Jalen Suggs has made, making this guard decision so much harder now. That guy is 20-point games almost consistently. Yes, he still plays like he doesn't have an off switch. Fine. But like the shot is coming slowly but surely for sure. But like the way that Jalen Suggs is has changed his game to be like this like legitimate NBA shooting guard minus most of the shooting has been like undeniable. And and once Fultz comes back, it's game over. It is game over. We're doing this all without Markel Fultz and Wendell
Yes.
Carter Jr. We're doing this all without the probably the most important guy on the team. Imagine what happens when he comes back.
All right. So I'm
Let's see the
glad you
chemistry
mentioned
issues
that.
don't mess
Glad you
up.
mentioned that. Um,
Yeah.
we'll kind of bring that up real quick because of how excuse me, because of how the Magic have performed during this winning streak. It seems like more often than not, the feedback amongst the fan base is like they're kind of getting cold on Fultz. A lot of people are kind of souring on the idea of him still being a part of our future and part of this team. I'm kind of with you. I
Yeah.
I remember what it was like last year when we didn't have him and
Hmm.
how horrible the first 20 games went without him last year.
Oh,
Just,
yeah.
just because it's the opposite now doesn't mean he's not as important.
Hmm.
Um, I still feel like he's one of the best players on the team. He settles
Oh, for
down the
sure.
offense very well. So to your point, I'm excited to see how things get when him
Yeah.
and also Wendell, who's our starting center,
Hmm.
gets back. But to kind of close off the this episode for today, kind of wanted to talk about another very important piece who, in place of Wendell Carter, has stepped up in starting and overall, I think has impressed all of us, and that would be Mr. Goga Bataze,
Mr. Goga Batase himself.
doing a wonderful job. And main reason also I bring him up, you had the pleasure of getting an interview with him recently.
I have, ladies and gentlemen, I am very excited to
Talk about
announce
it.
that on Orlando Magic HQ tomorrow. I actually just got a notification from Al that it's been edited. Um, Tomorrow in the AM, um, or probably today by the time that you're reading this, on Tuesday, there will be a feature on Goga Batase from how he got to this point, the high point in his career, filled with a bunch of lows. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the most excited I've ever been to share or write a story, and this is coming from the same guy who did the MCW interview for HQ, all those months back.
Awesome.
It's going to be long, so when you read it, make sure that you got a comfortable seat because it's going to be a doozy. It's double the length of the MCW article, but man, is it basically full of everything, every small, minute detail that you could possibly imagine that led us to this point where Goga Batase is dominating at starting center. The conversations he had with upon signing to Orlando, what helped him fall in love with basketball to begin with, everything that makes Goga Batase who he is as a player, and a lot of who he is as a person. And there's some stuff that I couldn't even fit in the article. Make sure you don't miss it, guys. By the time this is out, it'll probably be on OrlandoMagicHQ.com, so go search that up. Um, but I am beyond excited to share the story of a wonderful, great, genuinely great guy, um, but an even better player as of late. Ladies and gents, this is going to be a good one. You're going to want to read this.
Well, first of all, shout out to you for getting that
Appreciate it.
done. Shout out to Mr.
Took all of
Bataze.
4 days to do.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Big shout outs to Goga for somehow graciously accepting to do this, and um it like obviously couldn't be done without him, and we've been trying to get it for months, but due to circumstances, I'm
Mhm.
glad it all worked out, and am very thankful and happy that we got this all
And
going.
he got this done from Boston. All right, I want y'all to
Yeah,
I want
I
y'all
got
to
this all done from
I
Boston.
want y'all to see the dedication that this man
Yes,
still has.
sir.
All right,
I
so
appreciate
keep
you,
keep
buddy.
keep, keep that in mind, everybody. But no, man,
I
again,
yeah,
shout out. Go ahead, shout out to you for just doing a remarkable job. I can't wait to read it. Haven't
thank you,
read it
man.
yet.
I
Obviously,
appreciate
I'm
you.
gonna be my eyes are gonna be privy to it, just like everyone else will be for the first
Oh
time
yes.
tomorrow. So excited to read it. We'll have you back on here soon to kind of
Oh yes.
talk about how that went and everything too. But
I'll say some stuff.
man, I'm excited to read it, and you guys should be too, because this
Hmm.
is not only just this is big. This is a big one.
It's going to be a big one. This is genuinely, unironically, the biggest thing that we've ever done at Orlando Magic HQ, aside
So,
from starting the podcast.
ooh, hear that,
And
guys? So,
I really mean it. The biggest thing that we've ever done, and I'm staking my claim on that hill. You
all
guys are
right.
gonna love it, and I
So yeah, I can't say it any better than that. Can't do it any more justice. Just tune in tomorrow. Stay attention to X, Twitter, whatever it is. I still call it Twitter, but we got
I
to be
still call it Twitter
correct.
too.
Um, but man, this is going to be exciting. It'll be posted on all platforms. Instagram, you'll get the notification as well. Click the link whenever it's there. So again, man, looking forward to it. It's gonna do it for tonight's episode. Again, thank you for coming on. We got
Appreciate it. Thank you for
we got
having me,
a
buddy.
lot more to talking about soon, but
Oh, we
kind of
will.
wanted to just after all these months, I at least wanted to get back in, and
Welcome back.
to me there was
Welcome back.
no more perfect way to kind of not only in kind of have a new episode, but be able to promote you as well. And that was the news of you doing this interview. So glad to be able
I
to
appreciate you.
kind of time this out in that manner. So again,
Absolutely, man.
excited to
Thank
see
you
it
so
happen.
much. I'm
Of
excited
course.
to see this for all of us. This is, and of course, I will be back to talk about it further, but it'll be out tomorrow, and I can't wait for all y'all to read it.
Oh yes, definitely. It's gonna be a great again. Shout out to you. It's been
Thank you,
did a
man.
hell
Thank
of a
you, man.
job. I'm already saying it now. It's gonna be great.
Truly
So
humbled.
guys,
Truly
tune
humbled.
in. Well, all right, guys, that's been it. Hey, you guys have a great day. All right. Talk to you soon. Take it easy.